As most of you know, tomorrow is Mardi Gras, which means that Lent begins on Wednesday. I can't believe that it's here already. For some reason, every time I think about Lent, I'm reminded of a time that a good friend of mine, her name was Lindsay, her and I started this workout program called P90X. And if you are at all familiar with P90X, you know that it is physically challenging. So for about 2 months, we did really well, and I would get up at about 4 or 4:30 every morning. I'd go over to her place. We would do these like 45-minute to an hour and 15-minute workouts, and then I would have to then go to work, go home, have dinner, go to bed because I was exhausted, and get up and do it all over again. And even though it was extremely hard, I could tell physically that there was a difference. I felt better. I could walk down the hallway or go up a flight of stairs without getting winded. I felt stronger and healthier, and it was just a really good place to be. But yes, it was difficult getting there, and the process was hard. But just like any physical workout, if you have your workout plan, you know what you're doing every day, and you stay consistent, you will notice a difference in your body. And it's the same thing with Lent. For Lent, I see it as like a spiritual P90X, a time to be very intentional about the spiritual exercises you are going to commit to for the next 40 days. And there was this one 10-minute video that you would do, I think, like once or twice a week. It was called X. And in that video, you would do, I know it's only 10 minutes, which doesn't seem very long, but in those 10 minutes, we would do about 350 reps, which is insane. And at one point, the guy's talking at the beginning of the video, and he's like, X, I hate it, but I love it. And for some reason, that captures my attitude about Lent. No, I don't hate Lent, but as it gets closer, I don't necessarily look forward to it because I know that I need to challenge myself to kick the habits that I have grown so comfortable with and be very intentional about doing spiritual exercises that are actually going to make my soul feel better, that my soul will be holier, healthier. My relationship with God will be better. My relationship with neighbor and friends and family will be better. But always getting started, at least for me, is a little bit challenging. So I like to have a spiritual workout plan together. And if you don't have one, the good news is you have tomorrow to get it together. And there are 3 areas that the church asks us to focus on during Lent. 3 different types of spiritual exercises where we can flex our spiritual muscles. And those are prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Now, I could do a whole presentation on each one of those because there's so much to consider with that. But I know last week I talked a little bit about St. Faustina. I've been reading her diary. So I'm just going to tell you things that she said about those 3 areas. So the first is the area of prayer. And anything that you can do to incorporate like an extra 15 minutes of prayer. And again, there's so many things you can do, like reading scripture, praying a chaplet, praying a rosary, incorporating family prayer at dinner or in the morning or at night. But one of the things Faustina said is, she said, in order to hear the voice of God, one has to have silence in one's soul. So one of the things that I'm going to do for Lent, and I encourage you to do, is create and make time for silence. I am really good at telling God exactly what's on my mind, exactly what I am in need of, and exactly who I think He needs to bless and who needs to get prayed for. I am not so good at shutting my mouth and listening to what God has to speak to me. So incorporating silence into my prayer life is something that I'm going to focus on. The second area is in the area of fasting. Now, I used to do forms of fasting that incorporated food, like I would give up chocolate or candy because I love those, and I thought that it would make me holier. I don't know why, because I don't know how giving up coffee makes me holier. But I tried that, and if it does, by all means, stick with it. But for me, I would do those fasts for the 40 days, and then at Easter, the only thing that would happen is I would get sick on Easter Sunday because I would indulge in all of that chocolate or drink all of the coffee I could get my hands on because I had missed it so much, and I was like, oh, it's Easter now, I can indulge. And then I just went back to the habits, and I never really grew from it. But if giving up a Snickers helps you get closer to God, by all means, go for it. But I like to take a different sort of venue when it comes to fasting, a different perspective. And one of the things that Faustina says is she said, I will not allow my heart even one single cry of sorrowful complaint. So maybe one of the things that we can give up, and one of the things I'm giving up, is complaining, because I can always find something to complain about. But instead of being negative, I choose to focus on my blessings, focus on the positive. So you could give up things like complaining, procrastinating, give up things that take time away from you really being present to your family and friends or coworkers. So maybe give up things like Netflix or social media or texting, and see if that allows you more time to be available to God for deeper prayer or more available to those people around you. The third type of spiritual exercises is almsgiving. And I know one of the things that we normally think about is donating money, which is really good. I mean, not all of us can drop what we're doing and then go serve the poorest of the poor, clothe the naked, feed the hungry, give shelter to the homeless. But one of the things that we can do to be involved in those very important ministries is by donating to charitable organizations who do that work. And that's great, and I do highly recommend it. But I think another thing that we can do is not just give of our treasure, but give of our time and our talent. Where can you invest yourself? Where can you be sacrificial, sacrificing your time for the needs of others? One of the things St. Faustina says is you are to show, actually this is God speaking to St. Faustina, and he says, you are to show mercy to your neighbor always and everywhere. You must not shrink from this or try to excuse or absolve yourself from it. So the whole idea that every single day, and maybe multiple times a day, we are going to be called to be aware of the presence of those around us, to invest our time, to love them, to sacrifice maybe our comfort or to sacrifice our time for the sake of the needs of others, to be constantly aware of people around us and how we can bless them that day. So I'm going to be talking more about these three types of spiritual exercises as we continue throughout the season of Lent. But I do encourage you that if you don't have a set spiritual workout plan in place, that I encourage you to get that done by tomorrow. That way, on Wednesday, you know what you're doing. You are being intentional about your spiritual workout plan. Because just like a physical workout plan, if you stick to it, your body will be healthier. You will feel better. In the same way, the fruits of investing our time in creating a spiritual workout plan and sticking with it, we will be producing fruits of the Spirit. We will grow in our relationship with God and neighbor. We will become more kind, more gentle, more prayerful. We will have more self-control. And all of these are byproducts of growing in holiness and growing in our relationship with God. So as we approach Lent, if you're anything like me, you're not super excited about it, but at the same time, really excited about it, if that makes any sense. Like just like the almsgiving guy. I hate it, but I love it. Because yes, it is challenging. And yes, it does cause us to be more intentional about our spiritual lives. But at the end of the season of Lent, if we stay true to our commitments and be consistent, our souls will be stronger. Our souls will be holier. We'll be closer to God, and we can love Him better and love neighbor better. So my prayer is that your Lent is a good one, that it is spiritually strengthening for you and your family. I would love to hear your ideas and things that you're doing for Lent. So if you'd like to comment or leave a message so that we can share with each other, you might just have really great ideas to help others flex their spiritual muscles and make this the best Lent ever. So take care and God bless.